What's up, guys? Hope you had a decent trading day. Or hope you survived today. Today was not that fun. But yeah, I just want to go over, where my head's at after today. We'll take a look at a few charts. I'll go over some of my trades today. And I'll go over what I'm in going into going into tomorrow, but more importantly, going into kind of the next week or two. So yeah, let's just take a look. So SPY under the 9, slight increasing volume, 3 red days in a row. I mean, it's just not it's not in a zone you really want to be trading. I do get a lot more interested on that 760 tag, maybe even a little flush underneath it and then reclaim 760. That might be ideal. But that is going to be a first interaction point if you want to trade SPY. Going higher. You get monthlies and you have 21 MA, which should sit close to that. But right now it's just chill mode. It's risk off, slight risk on, however you want to try it, but it's just the market's not in, strong uptrend. If you base it off of, 6 points, based off of is SPY and QQQ over their 3 moving averages, we're not in strong uptrend right now. So you kind of just have to chill. QQQ right under the 9, sitting near the 50. This one you kind of just observe. It's sitting in weekly zones. These levels shouldn't be, they're not going to be crazy hard to trade off of, versus that monthly on SPY. So don't get too crazy trying to long QQQ, but just observe. So it was slightly risk off today. Today was kind of just an expectation breaker. Um, I had the risk of holding some decent positions overnight last night. I was ready to swing them. I'm still swinging them. I didn't do anything today drastic and just sell on this momentum lower. But it's not looking good. End of the week, I'll probably start managing, but by next week, I have to start managing some of these. And we'll see. Do I take a big loss? Do I take a small loss? Do I make money? Who knows? All that I can control is that I am not going to lose more money than last week's profit. That's really the only thing that I can control. Ideally, maybe I risked maybe I risked a little too much. I'm in about 32K worth of trades. I made 35K last week. That's that's not really that's not really the multiples I typically look for in terms of keeping my money. But I went a little riskier. I thought the market looked really good yesterday. I still think the market has a chance to come out of this within the next week or two. You do have Nvidia earnings next week, correct? 26. So, in terms of memory and semis, getting that trustworthy EPS report from the holy grail of this AI run, that might give it some more conviction and some more momentum back to the upside, depending on what Nvidia says. But that could go both ways as well. But knowing Nvidia earnings next week, that's a pretty good catalyst for all these semi stocks or for QQQ that's under some pressure. It'll be a really good reiteration of is that AI trade still intact? But I don't even think today was really AI related. Obviously you figure these tech stocks and semis, they're gonna get hit the most, like usually on any downturn. Risk on assets, they're gonna get hit hard. Um, so this was more of a broader sell-off, and I think you see yields hitting new highs. You had VIX at new lows. Like it seemed to just be a calculated pullback today. I really wouldn't think too much about it. And then if you think a couple steps further, like let's just take a look at SPY. This volume surge, this was a great volume surge. Look at these green days. Look at the volume accumulation on the green days and look at the volume here. This is what you want to focus on. If this volume picks up again and we have a red day tomorrow, not ideal. But if we fall and this volume is still like significantly distinguishable from those green days, that big accumulation phase, it's just a pullback. It's just a pullback within a larger trend, and you start getting some really good structure around certain areas soon. So don't think too much about it, but the macro uncertainty is definitely there. And I'm not a big fan of the randomness and the really fast switches in themes in terms of like the money flow, optoelectronics and memory, boom, gets flowed right to software and mags, boom, back to like it's a little random. It's a little quick for my liking in terms of a healthy market. But that's all in hindsight. Um, Leia, let's take a look at what I did today. So today we had, what did we take today? I sold my VCX shares. This one could go. I'm just not gonna risk it. Bought 500 shares at 39, sold them around 41. Yeah, it was decent. I made just under 2K, I think. So that paid for some of the losses I ended up taking today. Um, like Amazon. Amazon I did get all out of today. I actually got all out here when it couldn't, somewhere around here actually, when it couldn't get over 262 again. I had too big of a position to just let this one teeter again. And if it went, I was fine with it. But yeah, Amazon was a decent loss. I think I closed, let's see. Yeah, I closed up $168 today. So basically, realized my VCX, that was good. TMDX was fun. We scalped TMDX for a few hundred off that quarterly reclaim in the morning. And then I believe I had something else. I'm trying to remember. What else? What else? What else? SLS as well. That was chump change, but I did sell that as well. But yeah, I ended up cashing out of an MU. Um, sold that Amazon. Um, I believe that was it, and that really got me back to kind of break even today. But if you look at what I'm in, I'm holding a lot that is down. So that break even today, that's not gonna, that's not telling the whole story. So MU 1150s, I loaded those today. I have about 20K in MU 1150s, 20 contracts. So I have SNDK 2100 call. I have SPX, SpaceX 155 calls. Those SNDK and MUs are for September 4th as well. SpaceX is for 828. I have an MU 1130 and an MU 1100 call. That 1100 call, I blundered. I bought it for 10. It was at 26 yesterday, and I held it yesterday. It's just nothing short of stupidity. So I deserve to lose on that. I bought back my MU covered calls today. That was a nice little gain. But then yeah, like I'm still in that STX contract. I'm still in those ALAB contracts. I'm looking at a decent loss. If I don't lose, I'd be shocked. If I lose, as long as if I lose less than 25, 20K, I'll be happy, by next week or two when I'm all out of all of these, and that's part of the game. I risked it. Simple as that. Um, you know, I've it's part of the game. There's really nothing else to say. I've done that in the past and risked smaller, and I've been rewarded for it. I've risked bigger like this in the past, and I've been rewarded for it. But this is the other side of it. So we'll see what happens. Um, Ideally, MU can claim 981, 971, 981 end of the week, but we'll see. I'm not in control anymore. I know my max risk. I'm comfortable with it. We see how much I can manage. Um, but yeah, in terms of where I'm still at, those SNXX calls still need to be filled, and then ideally, if MU gives me any pop tomorrow, I'm gonna sell those covered calls again for next week and just rinse and repeat that. I'm not gonna get caught in trying to ideally the goal for those shares is just, can I sell at 1,000 or plus? If I can sell at 1,000 or more, I'm gonna be happy with it. So I'll keep looking to aggressively sell premium on MU. And then if I'm filled on SNXX, that's a lot of cash freed up. That'll make me feel a lot better. And then I'll be able to just, again, take some emotions out of it, and go from there. But yeah, today was really an expectation breaker, if I'm being honest. So just chill. There's really nothing else. That's my whole motto for the rest of the week. Just chill, manage these positions, watch how they act at key levels. But it's out of my control, and if we don't recover relatively quickly, I mean, yeah, just chill. Just chill. There's key levels to wait for. There's some good setups that'll give you an opportunity to enter with good risk to reward over the coming weeks if we do go down. But for right now, don't blow up. Don't screw yourself by not having any equity or nearly as much equity as you could have had by taking stupid stuff now. So just chill. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm really not going to plan on adding anything tomorrow, so I'll still look at 10,300. Let me just take a peek at it right now, actually. at 3 things on it on 10-300. 10-300's been flooded as well. So again, chill. But yeah, I hope you guys had a decent day. I hope you had a better day than I had. But yeah, we'll get after it. Just again, think logically, control your emotions, size appropriately, and wait for key levels.